of days I am leaving for the longest walk so far I've done. I'm going to walk the GR10, which is in the French Pyrenees from the Atlantic coast to the Mediterranean coast. So for this walk, I just want to do a bit of a gear video. Not all I have is like ultra lightweight. Some is relatively new, other stuff is just what I've already had for quite a while. So this is the backpack I'm using. I've had this for a while and I really like it. Also because I like the color which stands out, which means that I'm easily visible when I'm like hiking or when visibility in the mountains is a bit low. So it's a North Face Hydra 38, so 38 liters, which is like perfect for me. Everything fits in exactly, and it's not the lightest, I guess, but it has a really nice big stuff pocket at the front. Which, as you can see, I use pretty well. I have everything in here now that I'm planning to take with me on the GR10. So I'll just show you. Let's start at the top. I usually have just some things that don't really have a specific place. Usually it fills up more. So now I have my sunglasses, my sports tape. And since I'm gonna hike alone, I tend to get bored if I just have to sit around, or if I'm at camp. So I always bring an e-reader with me, and I just put it on the top to make sure that it doesn't like break while stuffing other things in there. Then on the other side I have my first aid kit, which is blister plasters, other types of plasters, some ibuprofen, a tick pen, duct tape as well, a kind of a tiny sewing kit, and also some repair things for if I get like a rip in my tent or in my sleeping mat. So this is all the kit I need for first aid and repairs. Then I also put here things that I want to keep safe but that I don't really need on a daily basis, which, for example, my passport. Then just on the side I have my hiking sticks, which I don't usually use, but I do want to take it this time because well, mainly because there are said to be bulls that can come and attack you, and apparently these are very good for like hitting them on the nose, so they kind of stop attacking you, hopefully. They're pretty heavy, but yeah, like I said, I don't generally use these trekking poles, which means that I didn't want to buy expensive super lightweight stuff. So usually at the top I'll just have well, now the easiest accessible was my toiletries, and then I have a dry bag with like electricals, so my camera, power bank, spare batteries for my camera, things like that. My cooking kit, which is a cup with a reusable coffee filter and this alcohol burner. So last time I used this, I did not bring the correct fuel. It was like reinforced with something else instead of pure alcohol. So hopefully this time I can get the correct fuel, so I don't create any dangerous situations. And of course I need a lighter for this one. And here on the side pocket I have the fuel bottle. It's empty now because I'm taking the Eurostar to France to get to the start of the GR10, and you can't take any fuel on the Eurostar, so I need to get this filled in France. This almost empty as well. This is my food bag because I'm planning to do shopping in France itself, because especially in the beginning quite frequently you come through a village and some grocery shops, so I'm planning to just get my food there. So I do of course have my spoon and a knife. I got a few like porridge because I still had that, as well as a powder to make like vegan fake meatballs. I thought it might be nice to kind of have something extra, something different with all the usually very quick cooking meals. And I also usually have a bag of like sugar, salt, pepper, some tea, things like that. But yeah, like I said, it's basically empty now. Then my sleeping kits. I have a Tamarest Neo Air, which is actually a new one because when I did the South Downs Way a couple months ago, like the inner baffle system, it kind of broke. But the good thing about this is that they have a lifetime warranty, and that problem that I had with the mat was part of the warranty. So I sent it back to Tamarest and I got a new one. So that is, yeah, that's just excellent. And then I'm having a C2 Summit Flame. It's a women's down bag, and I really like this one. I think it doesn't say here anymore. It's an FM2, which I think is comfort limit -2 or something. I don't exactly remember, but I just don't know for sure how cold it's going to be up in Pyrenees. So I figured just to be safe, I'm taking my kind of warm sleeping bag. And then, this time I'm also bringing some citronella incense sticks, which I've never used before, but I saw someone use it, and apparently it's pretty effective if there's going to be mosquitoes. Because I'm definitely not going to bring like candles, so I'm going to try this out for the first time if I'm going to need it. And then I have my clothes bag. I'll take this out later. First, at the bottom here I have my tent. It's a bit risky sometimes to put it at the bottom because if I fall I might damage it, but at the same time if it gets wet, like when I pack it up in the morning, I don't want to put it in my rucksack, so that's why I just tend to put it on at the bottom. This is a new tent. It's a Nemo Hornet Elite Osmo for one person. I tried it out for one weekend here in the UK, and I don't know, it was fine. It was not as claustrophobic as I kind of expected or feared it would be, because I tend to use my MSR Hubba Hubba, so a 2-person tent, which I really like. But I thought for this GR10, since it's going to be walking for about 50 days probably, I wanted to try like a lighter one. This is about 1/3 of the weight of the MSR that I have. So yeah, this will be kind of a new experience. Also, I always take a bit of a seat. So yeah, if you want to sit down and it's wet or cold, that's very convenient. Then I have my other toiletry bag, which is a trowel. So to dig a hole. This is kind of for like a bidet thing, so you can just put it on a water bottle and then use that instead of toilet paper, because I don't want to pack out toilet paper once I've used it. I just prefer to use water. And then just to like dry things off. What else? Oh right, I always take kind of these kind of shoes because they're very lightweight. These are just fake ones, because especially if you're on a campsite, you want to take a shower, it's just easy to have some other things to wear. It's kind of bulky and has to hang up the ends, but I rather have them with me and hang them being annoying than not have them at all. This is my water bottle. It's a Hydra pack, and it comes with like a filter, water filter, so I don't need a separate water filter. This is just, is it 1 liter? No, I think 750. So in addition, I have a 2 liter water bladder or water bag. And I could put the water filter on here as well. So I can change it if I for whatever reason want to. But so I could carry a little over 2.5 liters of water in total. The rain gear, so the rain cover for my rucksack, just a fairly cheap waterproof trousers, mainly because I hope I don't really need them too much, so I didn't want to invest in like expensive, very nice breathable ones. I did invest in a new waterproof kind of coat because, well, I used to have these cheap ones that are just basically plastic, and it just gets very sweaty, and then you get just wet anyway from the sweat. So I invested in a new one, which was a bit expensive, but I figured it should really last me quite a long time and just be much more comfortable. And I can also use it as an extra layer if for whatever reason, if I get cold. So I think that was... Oh, and of course I also have a sleeping bag liner, because this is not the lightest. It's not from like silk, which would be much lighter. But the downside of the material of these lightweight things is that it's super synthetic. So it does get very sticky if you sleep in it. So I never sleep in this really without a liner, just to make it more comfortable and a bit softer. And one last thing is a small pack bag. Because, well, I can use it like, again, if I want a campsite and I want to take my things to the shower, it's just easy to have a separate bag. Or if I'm grocery shopping, I can just quickly first put it in here, and after that sort out all my stuff in my actual rucksack. So this just it's easy to have. And then of course the sun protection, and in one of the hip pockets I have some hand sanitizer, so it's just easy to reach. So that is the backpack. In terms of clothing, that tends to be a bit difficult. I tend to overpack, but of course if you walk for like many days, everything starts to get smelly anyway. One more thing that actually belongs to my sleeping system is a pillow. It's just an air pillow from Sea to Summit, and it has a bit of fabric on it, which makes it a bit softer and more comfortable to sleep on. I'm bringing 4 pairs of underwear and 2 pairs of like sport bras. Mainly because, well, with the underwear it's kind of between 3 and 4, but I figured if it doesn't dry quick enough, if like after washing it, then at least I have an extra 2 just in case. And a towel. There are of course plenty of those microfiber, quick dry, lightweight towels. I have a few, but this one is, I don't know, I think it's just some mixed material and it's not like super quick dry, but compared to the towels I have, this one is pretty decent in size, and yeah, it packs away quite small, and it's not really that heavy either, so that's why I'm just bringing this one. I do have also a puffy coat. Again, I don't know how cold it's gonna get, so just in case I'm bringing that. 1 pair of shorts, hopefully I'll be wearing these most of the time. A t-shirt for like as pajama, or like as camp shirts. 1 tank top, again hopefully I'll be wearing this most of the time. I have a buff because I'm not bringing any other, what do you call it, and a buff because it's both to keep warm but also cover my ears from the wind. 10 socks, just an extra bag, which is it's like from paper for dirty clothes. I didn't want to use plastic because it just makes it smell even worse. So a kind of a paper-based bag. I have 4 pairs of socks, so 1 I'm wearing and then 3 extra. Again, this could be done if you have just 1 or 2 extra, but I just like to have a bit more. Then a base layer, leggings, which I'm using at camp. Again, as pajamas. So these are not 100% merino wool. They're a combination of merino and Primaloft, which I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it is also some sort of natural fiber. So it's lightweight and warm. One long sleeve, which is also warm, quick dry, and it's not fully windproof, I don't think, but it does keep a lot of the wind out, so it should keep me nice and warm. And then my other pair of underwear. Also, I'm having a like a bum bag, fanny pack, what do you call it? Just with things I want to access easily. So usually I put in some bars. I have my guidebook in here, which is quite heavy, but this is what I'm going to rely on most of the time, I think. A tiny notebook. I have my phone in here. What else? My headphones. So things that I want to have a bit more accessible, without having to take my rucksack off. Then the clothes I'm wearing is, of course, going to be hopefully very sunny. So I'll have my cap. I'll have one long trousers, a t-shirt, socks, and a set of underwear. And usually on my hikes I've been using like these type of ultras, which I really like. They're really comfortable, but they're not the most durable. Either like the upper mesh rips, and once it starts ripping it just goes like further and further really quickly, or the soles, they wear out quite fast. So this time I have different ones. I have Topos, and these also have a foot shaped toe box. They don't feel as wide as the ultras, but still I didn't feel any pressure on my toes while trying these out for a day. I have not properly worn them yet, but yeah, I just wanted to try different ones. Here the sole seems a bit more durable, I don't know, but again the mesh, it's pretty thin, which is good in terms of like breathability, and like it will be dry very quickly if they get wet. But again, I don't know how durable this mesh material is, but I'm just gonna have to try and see. So I'm gonna use all this, try them out, and then in the next section I'll give you a post-trail update on how everything worked, if I've made any changes or any problems with any of the kits that I used. So I'm gonna now have to put all of this back in my rucksack so that I'm ready to leave for the GR10. It has been a while since I came back from the GR10, but I thought it was time to do a post-trail kind of reflection on the gear that I took. To start with, I had a new tent with me, the Nemo tent, and I really liked it. It was perfect for this trip. It stayed waterproof, and even in really strong winds I had to make sure I pitched it in the right angle so that the strongest part of the tent was like catching the wind. So I'm really happy with this tent, and it was perfect for the trip. And also the sleeping bag that I took was good. I could have done with a slightly less warm bag, because this one
yeah, so the comfort is actually 2 degrees Celsius, and the lower limit -4. And yeah, I was never cold. Sometimes I was a bit warm. So I don't regret taking this bag, but yeah, probably if I brought a slightly more summery bag or like a spring bag, it would have been fine too. I took a puffy coat with me, which I didn't use at all, and I wouldn't bring it next time either because, well, it just never was that cold. And also I had a long sleeve with me and my raincoat, so I could have always used a combination or both of those if it would be really cold or windy in the evening. Because definitely during the day, during the walk, it was never cold enough to wear anything other than a t-shirt. I also never wore the tank top that I brought because yeah, it's just not comfortable to have the rucksack bands on the bare skin. So I think I only wore it in the very beginning to find out that it wasn't comfortable, and after that I only used it kind of as a camp shirt when it was really hot, and that wouldn't really be necessary. So also the tank top I wouldn't bring next time. And finally the long trousers also I wouldn't bring because I wore shorts for the entire trip, and even in the evenings it wasn't really cold enough for me to be needing my long trousers. So yeah, I was never cold enough for the long trousers and not for the puffy jacket, so I would not bring them. I was very happy with the choice of my shoes. I had to glue the sole a couple of times because that's where the first signs of wear started to show, and that worked really well. I just had to do super glue a couple of times, but yeah, that stayed perfect. So the mesh did start to rip, but I was able to use this single pair of shoes for the entire trip. And even the soles, I could feel the dampening, the cushion getting less towards the end, but yeah, I was very happy with these. And actually I wanted to get these again, but unfortunately this specific model is no longer for sale. This was the Mountain Razor 2. There's now a Mountain Razor 3, which is slightly different, and I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, I probably might get those at some point if I'm gonna do a really long trek like that again. The water bottle, perfect. It's so easy to have that built-in filter because it meant I didn't have to worry about water. I would just fill this bottle wherever I wanted with water and drink it straight from it. Also in combination with the 2-liter water bag that I had, I was never short of water, so most of the time I was actually carrying too much because there were quite often places I could refill, especially with having the filter. So I mean I would still take both on the next trip I guess, but just to be on the safe side. But yeah, definitely it was more than enough. And I started the trip with this bag with like the guidebook, my phone, that kind of stuff. But maybe it's just the size and the material. It started to get really hot because it was covering so much of my stomach. It just got so hot and sweaty and it was just not comfortable anymore. So I kept all the things in here, but I just started putting it in my rucksack instead of carrying it as it was intended to. Also trekking poles. This GR10 was the first time where I was really using trekking poles for the first time, and initially it was because of potential bull attacks. So apparently if you tap them or hit them, I guess softly-ish on the nose, it kind of deters them. Luckily I didn't need my trekking poles for that at all. But still, I was really happy to bring them because it just gives you an extra stability. I tend to trip quite often, and those trekking poles just saved me so many times because you can more easily catch yourself before you actually fall. And also it just means your upper body is more active. Usually when I walk without them, your fingers swell up because of the heat, because they're continuously like in a downward position, but with the trekking poles, because yeah, the position of your whole body is just a lot better. So I didn't have any problems with swollen fingers. So yeah, trekking poles are definitely now my must-have for a multi-day trek. The poles I had on the GR10 on, I think somewhere in the last week I fell, and like I fell on top of one of the poles, so they got like quite a big bend in it, which meant I couldn't properly fold them in again. On my latest trip to the Cape Wrath Trail, I bought new trekking poles with a click system. I just thought it would be easier to use a click system than a twisting system, which I had, because there was like sand and dirt coming in the twisting system, making it very difficult to open and close it. But yes, I'm now converted for trekking poles for the multi-day treks. One other thing I remember not using at all is those citronella incense sticks. Mostly because I just forgot I had them. Also, I didn't really have that much problems with mosquitoes. I mean, it wasn't heavy and it didn't take up space in my bag, but yeah, that's not something I'm gonna bring again. There was only one thing that I really changed during my trek, and that was the t-shirt I was wearing. I had a cotton t-shirt which I thought it would smell less compared to, you know, those synthetic running shirts, t-shirts and that kind of stuff, and it worked well for a couple of days, but it just got very kind of cardboard like, very rough after a couple of days, or yeah, so I think about maybe 2 weeks in I switched it for just a synthetic sports t-shirt that, yes, it did smell a lot quicker and a lot worse than the cotton shirt, but it just dried so much more quickly and it just stayed soft. So I think for a next trek I would either just use one of those synthetic ones, because you know you gotta smell anyway, or I also will look into investing in like a more merino wool t-shirt, because apparently those are really good for preventing bad smells, but also that it stays really soft and that it dries quickly. But I haven't tried that out yet, so that would be some other future trail that I might invest in one. So yeah, I think that was my post GR10 gear review. So yeah, overall I was pretty happy with what I brought. I could have left a few things in terms of clothing, because it wasn't as cold as I thought it may get before I left. But yeah, overall I was pretty happy, and my gear worked out really well. So yes, thank you for watching this final video on the GR10, and yeah, maybe I'll see you in a future video on a different adventure.